Okay, so here in Inkscape, I'm just going to open it up real quick and then we'll take a look at it. We're just going to do a basic overview of the tools and how to draw and modify paths and shapes and fills, etc. First thing that happens when you open up a new Inkscape document is it defaults to this one, and we'll go into the document properties, file, document properties, and actually for our cases, you don't have to, but I prefer to, unless I need something to be an actual size, like in real life, I'll just work in pixels, and I usually change it to a fairly big one. So we're going to do 3000 by 3000 pixels. And here, let's say you can remove the background or keep it. In our case, we'll remove it and show the page border or not, or show the page border shadow. I don't know if we can go over there or not. See what it's talking about. So you can take the shadow on or off. See this line changing here? And I just don't like it. So this is how I like it. Now I'll press the number 5 on the keyboard and it shows me the entire artboard. Okay, so over here on the left we have our shape and drawing tools, and that's what we're gonna take a look at first. Here is just the normal square. Oops. Let me actually delete that. And I'm gonna go Object, Fill and Stroke. And it's gonna bring up a panel that'll let me adjust that fill and stroke there. So holding Control, it maintains the aspect ratio to make sure a square stays a square. Here's the fill, and then the stroke I'm actually going to turn off for now. Okay, then I'll close that again. Okay, and now for the circle, holding Control again, it makes a circle. There's other things too that you can play around with. For example, the star, like this. Okay, and then once you've actually drawn a shape, you can't directly edit it in a very easy way. So you have to expand it to strokes, or sorry, expand it to a path first before we can really edit it. But if you don't, you can grab this tool here. This is the node editing tool here with the arc and the little nodes right there. You can click on one, and actually these little squares here are the nodes themselves. You can click on it and it will give you a real easy way to adjust it uniformly to keep that sort of shape if that's the style that you wanted. Okay, and then over here you can do the same thing. Adjust each one like this. Oh, actually that's pretty cool. I didn't realize it had that feature. Huh. You can make like a sort of pie chart. Oh. Interesting. I'll have to play around with that more. And then here, I'm not sure what this does. Oh yeah, these are just the corner radius. So you can drag these and make a corner box. You can make it into a circle like this, or just change the amount of radius on the actual corners. But in this case, we're just going to have it be all the way stretched out. Okay, so now to edit it in the more traditional way, the simpler way, we're going to click on it. Well, actually, we'll drag and select all of the objects, and you can see they have this little border around them. And so that we know each of these objects is selected, then we're going to go Path, Object to Path. And it doesn't seem like that changed anything because technically it didn't. It just changed how we can interact with them. Now when we click on them, you'll see each corner has a little node in it. Each point has a little node, and here also. But now when I adjust them, they work independently. So there's no way to get that, at least that I know of, no way to get that behavior back where they all work synchronously. But for our purposes, we're not going to need it anyway. This is just some basics to get us through. So for now, we'll go here and we'll just edit this one here. You can see here on this corner, I can drag these, and they always will be a straight line from each other. In this case, with this type of node, when it's a starting out as a square like this. And over here on a circle, there's something different about them. They have these handles, and the handles determine how the line between these 2 points gets there. Like notice that the line, it's like it has like a gravity towards this other point because it must go there, but also a gravity towards this point and a gravity towards the handle of this node. And so it follows that for like whatever the formula ends up being to draw that curve, like the mathematical equation, it just makes it figures it out, and it just draws like a smooth curve between the 2 points. And that's how you can have a nice curve between them, is just by adjusting the handles. Okay, so that's the basics of shapes, and we're gonna delete those, and then I'll just draw like a very simple path and keep this a bit short using this. This is the Bezier tool here, and this lets us pick where we want to put nodes and how to draw the nodes between them. We can do different things with them. If I'm just clicking and not holding, just clicking, click, 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 and then now to actually enter this to the artboard, you hit enter. Okay, now it made it. You'll notice that the type of node that it made here are these very rigid type that have no handles. I click on them, there's no handles that appear. And then I can also make the sort with handles. I clicked, and now I'm going to click and hold and drag it over. And actually the first click here at the bottom of this valley that I made determines where the node is, and then the dragging determines the handle. So then I can click it, and I'll do the same thing here, 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 or really we could go on forever. But I'll hit enter, and then there's that sort of interrupt. So really the position of these nodes is more or less identical. It's just the interaction between them. Actually, in this case, we can do something just to prove that point more. I'll right click and go to duplicate, and now I've made 2 of these. So now we know that they're the same, and it has these sort of node tools that are built into this that we can use to interact with this. So now that I have the node tool selected and the object selected itself, I can drag to select all or some, like a partial amount or all of the nodes in there. And then in this case, I can change them, and I'll be able to change the node type and add handles to them. See? So now we haven't changed the position of the nodes at all, only the handles, that's it. So then we have that sort of thing. So then here, I'll actually duplicate this again. This demonstration is just to emphasize the importance of the handles on there. And I'll change this style to this corner style that allows me to adjust the handles independently. So then if I wanted to, I could go like this and like this. See these ones, this node here is still symmetric, and you can tell by the shape of this square. See how it's like parallel with the monitor, and this one is at a 45-degree angle. You can tell like that's the sort of behavior, and that just means that as I rotate this around, the opposite handle is always like 180 degrees apart from it. But if I change this sort of style here to make it a node's corner, I can adjust them independently. Make this like a sort of wave. Okay, so that's it. I haven't really changed the position too much of those nodes, just the handles, and you can get such different results that, yeah, you can see how critical it is. One point that I should emphasize is, actually let me make these bolder before I go into more depth on the nodes. I've got them all selected here with this black tool, and I'm going to go object, fill, and stroke. And the way these vector artworks work is I'll click this pink color here, and you'll notice that it put like a color in this very weird way, where at first it seems very weird like that. And then I'll go over here, and that's over here on the fill color. This is like where you can pick the exact color that you want to specify, or if you know the code, you can type in the code right here. If you find like a swatch of nice colors online that you want to use, you can copy and paste that here and get the exact colors. Or if it's like, if for example it's something for your school and you want to use your school's exact color, you can use a color picker to find the exact RGB color and then paste it in there so that you know you're using the right colors. That's very useful to know. But the fill of an object, let me make one that's easier to understand first. The fill of an object is the inside of the path, and then the stroke is the outside. So you can either have a stroke or not, or have a fill or not. So here I'll be turning the stroke of the circle on and off, on, and then the fill on and off, on and off, right? And so you can see, like, you can see the background or not, and that just shows you exactly that. You can either have it or not. And all of these shapes are like that, except a shape like this, where technically the stroke, it doesn't connect with anything. It just is like, well, what's inside and what's not inside, right? Like, it doesn't know that this isn't inside there, so that's what it does. But if I go back to this tool here and then edit this to add some more to this, now you can see it says, oh, okay, just inside that shape only. Otherwise, it's gonna behave like this. It's actually pretty rare that you would have an open path like this with a fill, like, because it has this very weird effect. Although, I don't know, maybe it would be useful in some weird circumstance. But anyway, we're not going to talk about that. Let me undo that stuff. Okay, and I'll go ahead and get rid of all of the fills on these, and I'm just clicking this little X right here. And the stroke, I want to be solid. I thought all three of these are selected. The fill is nothing. Oops. The fill is nothing. The stroke is this flat color, and then the stroke style, because there's multiple widths here, it defaults to a percentage. So I'm just going to go and change this to pixels, and I'll make it 20 pixels. Okay. Actually, you know what? I'm going to make it 100 pixels. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. We have here now the basic paths, and you can adjust how the stroke is drawn around that path. Here you can add like a roundedness to the end of it, or even round the corners off, and see how that changed that so dramatically. I'll make a duplicate of that, and we can compare. Duplicate. Okay, and then I'll just put on the different corner styles, and you can see what sort of difference it can make. Duplicate again. Actually, you know what? Well, I don't need to do it for all of them. Duplicate again, and then have this one be sharp. Sharp with this one, I guess. And these are the different sort of paths that you can take. And you saw me just duplicate that, like only duplicate the path itself, but then I adjust these, and it ends up with a slightly different result. Let me zoom out a bit. We can look at them all. Okay, so if I go into, I can change the view to see like the underlying, like it's sort of a skeleton for this. That's the actual path that these strokes are following. And if I go to view, display mode, outline, that's what it's showing me. You can see this path is exactly the same for all three of these, but in the display mode, the normal view, it ends up being very different because of the way you determine how to draw the corners on there. You can change it to a rounded corner with the rounded thing. This is more like a sort of marker or something, like a permanent marker. Or in some cases, you want it to be very crisp and very sharp, and that's it. Do I need to go more into that? No, I think that's pretty much it for now on that. You will notice here when you click on something, you can see where the nodes appear only on like these critical parts here at this, but that doesn't have to be the case. If I click here and now I have this segment selected between these two nodes. I can go up here to this node bar and add nodes to it, and watch. I added one, but the shape didn't change. The same thing happens down here as well. I can add one, the shape doesn't change. I can click again and it splits difference again, and I actually added two, and the overall shape didn't change on that. The rule is you want as few nodes as possible to make it exactly how you want it. You don't want to have a lot of extra nodes for no reason, because that makes the file harder to work with and harder to edit. So here, now that I've edited that, if I click and move this around, see this node and this node, now they're staying. This one is working between those two. It's trying to stay between those two now only. And the same thing happens every time you have another node in there. It's always just trying to be between those two. It makes that path between there, and you can adjust them. That's why if you wanted this to end up being like a smooth curve, and let's say you wanted this one here, you wanted this, let's see, no, okay, this one, and I'll move this to make it easier to understand. Okay, this is like a very nice smooth curve here that's going between these two points here. Like, it's very fluid, very nice. Well, let's say that you had a lot of extra curves in there, and you're trying to still maintain this smoothness, and you brought this one over. Well, now you have to bring over each one of these and adjust like how they interact, etc. And basically, it's just a whole lot of work for no reason. So you want to have as few as possible, and the rule is that you only want a node where something is actually happening, and you don't want to just have nodes in random spots along a line, especially if you're tracing over something. You want nodes only at the corners, but I'll go into that more in another video later. But the rule is you want nodes only to be at the corners where something is happening. So we'll zoom back out a bit here, and you can see when I click on this, the nodes are only at these points here, like the bottom of this, the top of this, the top of this, the bottom of this. Same thing here, top and bottom, top and bottom. I have this one extra, but I can see that it's just on a straight line. It's not helping me like to get what I want. So it's good practice to delete that to make it easier to edit if you ever had to in the future. And here, this one I don't want. That one I'll bring back to the top. This one, I guess I don't want. Bring it over here. Let's see, these node modifying tools here allow you to adjust the handles independently. Here I can change this to a symmetric, and this is letting it see the node handles grow the same distance from each other, and then it's also always 180 degrees apart. Or I can change it to this where they work independently. Oh, I think I already talked about this. Oh yeah. This one here, I'm not sure what that does. What is that? Auto smooth. This must just determine something between them. So now, I don't know. I don't know what the auto smooth feature is about. But as soon as you adjust it, it goes, it's not auto smooth anymore. Will it change it? Which one was it? Oh, okay. So it just makes it as smooth as possible between 2 points, no matter what. And then this one makes selected nodes smooth. But if you do that, then, oh, okay. Make smooth. Auto smooth. Huh. I'm not sure what's the point of this one. Well, oh no, I guess that would let you. Oh, okay, so symmetric, they always stay the same distance from each other. Smooth, they always stay like they always stay 180 degrees apart from each other, but I can make the lengths different. And then this one, they just work independently. They don't affect one another. Okay. But yeah, you can see how this is like a very powerful set of tools for drawing many different paths. And then let's see, the next one we'll retrace over a map and see if we can make a map